We communicate in many ways. I like to tell everybody that, I mean, they know with me, it's an open door policy to communicate on anything at any time, even after hours. They can call me at any time. I think keeping that door open and letting everybody know that that door is always open is crucial to ensure that they're always going to stay in communication with you. We do group texts. That's a big one for us, is as we all get the building alarms from the various BMSs, and so what I created a group text with the ownership, upper management, myself and my counterpart, and then all the facility managers for their respective buildings. They all have their own group chat. So, and we ask them that if we get an alarm come in, just for peace of mind, it just takes a quick text to ease everyone's mind.
This is Facility Rockstars, the podcast that celebrates the unsung heroes of our daily lives, facility professionals. I'm your host, Jay Culbert. Join me as we honor these great leaders, sharing stories, insights, and expertise that empower us all to learn and grow together. Facility Rockstars is sponsored by Coludus, operating the way you operate in order to make your life easier. Welcome back to Facility Rockstars. I'm your host, Jay Culbert, and I can't wait to get into a conversation with today's guest. He combines technical know-how with a strong focus on operational excellence and customer satisfaction. He is someone whose expertise in facilities, engineering, and maintenance brings a unique perspective to building systems management. He is a seasoned facilities engineer, a skilled manager of preventive maintenance programs, and a trusted leader who ensures the integrity of critical systems like HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. His work revolves around fostering solid contractor relationships and improving building aesthetics, as well as driving sustainability and reliability in service delivery. He's a facilities manager at UG2. Derek Earp, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jay. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for investing your time. It's a pleasure to have you. So, first off, we're gonna shout out Mass Maritime Academy. I'm gonna do it right off the bat here, right? Because we have another Mass Maritime grad on the show today, and I'm psyched to get into this with you. So that being said, we've got Maritime. You've got all your history and all your experience. What's been your biggest lesson learned through that journey?
So, for me, the lesson began at a young age, playing sports, growing up playing with teams, but just the importance of teamwork. And that's only been reaffirmed in my career over the past 7 years or so. The importance of the team. You're really only as good as your team, and making sure that your team shares that mentality is critical.
Love that topic. How does it show up for you, day to day, week to week?
Perfect example. In the past couple of weeks, we had a big tour going on, and some of the buildings were in great shape, some not as great, and we really all banded together because one of the team's buildings, they might not have been prepared to get it into the state that it needed to be. But since we're promoting this campus environment, we had guys from other buildings come in and help, and with a group effort, we were able to get everything where it needed to be, and a great result from that.
Awesome. With the on this topic, it's interesting because sometimes you'll see people who may go rogue or may not ask for help, and others who always ask for help or offer advice and assistance. So how do you equalize that? You have any examples or stories
Yes.
that come up for you?
Yeah, it's tough. We have dealt with that. Actually, a couple rogue ones that we've had to entice back into the fold and into that team mentality. For me, it's leading by example. I like to show them through action what comes from having that team mindset. and how beneficial it can be, and that usually is enough to get them on board with that agenda.
It's great. I think I haven't met anyone who doesn't appreciate the lead by example method. So great job leading by example. What are other methods, if there are any others, that you solidify that teamwork day to day with?
So I like to recommend to the facility managers to get with the guys and girls and to listen to them, hear them out. Understand the human, the person behind the employee. That's very helpful. And I also suggest like a daily stand up meeting, um, something where you're getting the whole team together on a regular basis and just running through the day, what's coming up. Um, I feel like those types of meetings get people into that mindset and much more likely to get on board.
Like the idea of a stand up meeting. So did you create that, Derek? Is that something that had existed prior?
So I learned it actually, which is a huge tool. I love learning anything I can from anyone who's willing to teach me. But a facility manager that kind of took me under his wing, and showed me the ropes, so to speak. He implemented that at one site, and I saw the benefit from it. And and yeah, so we've chosen to implement that at the campus.
Is it a structured meeting? Meaning, is there a set agenda every time, or how do you operate that meeting?
Not the daily stand up, not so structured. I mean, each manager's liking, but that's usually a more informal. Kind of just find a place to meet in the morning and go over things. But to your point, a more structured meeting is crucial. Um, in fact, we do a monthly meeting with the whole team. Um, Upper management has a meeting every Friday, where we fill them in on the goings on of the campus. But we decided to monthly bring in everybody else, to kind of to bring everyone together.
I love the structure of it because, well, not the structure, but the fact that you have a daily cadence, right?
Mhm.
And it sounds like everybody is heard consistently.
Right. Yep.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
A lot of grievances there. Whatever's on mind, they
Sure, sure.
they're encouraged to bring it up.
Excellent. So, again, through your journey, what would you say your biggest obstacle or obstacles, maybe there's multiple, right, that have come up, and, how did you overcome it? How did you deal with it?
Yeah, many obstacles. The major obstacle for me was going from being in the field engineering with tools and then moving over to the office in more of a management role. That was very tough for me to put the tools down because I get a lot of joy from um, fixing stuff. I just love understanding how things work, and you get a real sense of satisfaction when you fix something or complete a task. And on the management side, it's a lot more fuzzy. Go home most days and not feeling like I accomplished anything,
Mm.
as opposed to when I was engineering in the field. It was pretty clear cut what I did, what I got done. So that was a big hurdle for me to um, to come to terms with that and understand that my accomplishments aren't going to be as visible, but they are there.
Oh, I like the way you said that. Yeah, they're not as visible, but they're there. Hmm. Now, this is arguably something that almost everybody goes through at some point in their career, right? There's a transition from, and not everybody, right? And some people are very happy being an engineer their whole career, or whatever the case may be. But what advice could you give then? Or maybe you could shed some more light on that transition. How did you actually work through it? It sounds like you had to change your mindset a little bit or shift your perspective.
I did, and I had I'd seek guidance from anyone who would offer it to me. Share my opinion of about what I just told you, and they had gone through that transition themselves
Mhm.
and kind of reassured me. It doesn't feel like you're accomplishing anything, but you really are. And if this is a priority for you or something that you want, um, it's just something that you're gonna have to come to terms with and make it work. So really, seeking help from the people around me is what really helped me to make that transition reality.
Sounds like you have an awesome growth mindset, Derek. That's a
Thank
very
you,
good quality.
thank you.
So, what were some? I want to talk about this a bit more because this is a very very common thing for people.
Great.
Um, like, what were the hardest parts of this? Like, or how did you actually let go of the tools, and how did you see that there was a greater benefit to what you were now doing, or a different benefit, I should say?
Right. It was a slow transition. Um, yeah, it was tough for me to give someone a task to go do something that I knew maybe they weren't going to do it how I would do it, or it would take longer, for example, or any slew of scenarios. It was really hard for me to just let them go do it. I mean, I would show them if they didn't know how, but it was hard for me to let go. So at the beginning, I would kind of be running back and forth. I'd be in the field, you know, um, tools in hand, helping them out while emails are coming in. It was tough. So I wasn't. I realized eventually that I wasn't accomplishing anything on either side. I
Mm.
wasn't getting the job done in the field or in the office. So I eventually realized I had to pick. Do I want to stay in the field, or do I want to grow and you know transition into a management role? And ultimately, yeah, I decided to let go.
Yeah, that's I love how you like humbly shared that too. Like that's a great self awareness that I wasn't being effective here or here, and you made that conscious decision. Appreciate you
Thank you.
sharing that with us.
Of course.
All right, I know another thing that we've discussed briefly in the past was you've identified, if I remember this correctly, you've identified a gap between information technology and operational
Mm,
technology. Is that right?
yes, yes, I have indeed.
Yeah, tell us about that, please.
Yeah, so when I first started, I didn't even know that there was a difference between IT and OT. To me, it was all technology that holds information. So I was kind of shocked that the IT teams weren't aware of all this equipment that their company had purchased, have in the field, and or need to maintain and then take care of, but they had no idea how it worked, how it was integrated with the building management system. There was just like a wall up in between it, and I didn't understand it. So from the beginning, I've been trying to, you know, pitch to IT the value of having all this stuff integrated and getting the data from it. It's critical. Um, it's been a tough one. It really has.
Can you say a little more about the like you mentioned there's a lot of equipment in the field, right? And just maybe get a little more granular about that because I'm sure you are not the only one faced with this, right? And I'm
Right.
sure anyone listening could benefit from here. Like, just dig a little deeper here.
Sure. So, I mean, a good example is like a chiller. That's something you're spending upwards of almost, I don't know, $500,000 on, and it has all these capabilities, these that you can integrate with and really get your finger on the pulse of that piece of equipment. But time and time again, I would find it not integrated, not being utilized, and I just could not understand why. Another example would be like electric meters. We had a couple sites with a bunch of energy meters, but no connection to building management or a CMMS system. So it was doing all this hard work in the background, but the company wasn't getting any benefit out of it. So that was a push I made to let them see the benefits.
How did you do that? So how did you make the change so it was more beneficial for them?
So I would dig in, if I see a piece of equipment and saw an Ethernet port on it, I'm like, oh, that can talk to a network. Look up the manual, do a little reading about it, and then if I know which direction to go in, you do that. But often you reach out to the manufacturer, and they're always more than willing to help you out. Um, and yeah, the manufacturer will walk you through it.
Hey, rock stars. If you're tuning into the podcast and are feeling overwhelmed by all the maintenance demands at your facility, don't stress. We've got you covered. Our sponsor, Coludis, is your go-to partner to help you tackle all those demands and get them done right, on time, and with top-notch quality. From project planning to execution, Coludis is there to make hard work easy. Visit coludis.com today to get started. Again, that thirst for knowledge and growth came up. You see an Ethernet port, you dig right in.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So, who else on the team works, or does your whole team work on like this piece of the business, right? Because you're obviously a driver of it. How does that integrate with other facets of the team, or does it?
It does. It does. I mean, I try to share this stuff with the whole team, and really anyone that will engage with me on topics like this. I go all in. We have a few engineers that are growth mindset. They love learning, and yeah, I kind of just steer them in that direction, and they go to work. We're building a great team. It's fun.
Good for you, man. In the intro, we talked about preventive maintenance and you being proficient at it. So, does this ITOT discussion coincide or correlate with that at all?
A little bit. A good CMMS software is very important. Some some are great, some not so great. The one that we work with, it has its benefits. I'm not a huge fan of it, but unfortunately, we just have to make it work. But yeah, I mean that communication with the organization, tell them, oh, we really needed to do this, or uh, it doesn't do this. How can we fix that? And kind of show them the value um, that's missing or that we could get from making changes. Like rounds, building rounds are huge. That was a maritime thing, performing rounds in the engine room.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. You need to get eyes, ears, noses in all the mechanical spaces, get your finger on the pulse. And unfortunately, a CMMS that can record rounds is really the only way to ensure that it's getting done and properly.
So I'm gonna jump on you again here because you mentioned rounds, eyes, ears, noses on everything, and I know another topic you're passionate about is safety. So
Mm,
how does that weave in, and how is safety integrate with these rounds that you're making, you and your team?
yeah, safety is super important. It even goes back to getting to know the human behind the employee. Um, I find it's important to make that connection with each employee and really drive home to them how much I want them to work safely and go home to their family at the end of every day. And the safety is something that's incorporated in the stand-up meetings.
Mhm.
I recommend that we have the meetings in a central location with a safety board within the vicinity. And the company does what they call shop talks, and that one comes out every month. We post that on the safety board. And yeah, for the rounds, especially if someone's doing rounds alone in a building, it's even more important. Just to, I encourage everybody to share feedback. You know, um, anything that they encounter during their rounds that they think could lead to an injury or is an unsafe condition, um, that they really need to share that with us, and that we'll get it resolved.
Outstanding, man. Outstanding. I think you said to me something like your default or your go-to or something to that nature is full transparency. And I would really like to hear more about that because I agree wholeheartedly with that statement.
Yeah, I'm.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
All right.
I'm honest to a fault. Even when I mess up, I mean, I think that's so important, and something I look for in employees is the honesty, the integrity. If you make a mistake, you got to just own up to it, and face it head on, apologize, learn from it, and move forward. Um, Withholding information, I don't see any value in it whatsoever. Um, I often call myself I'm just a purveyor of the truth.
Mm.
Just it is what it is. What you see is what you get.
Purveyor of the truth. I love that. So, on this topic, right? Where'd you learn it? How did you become such a purveyor of truth? Because this is great.
Probably from my dad. Yeah, he was always that way, and I I respected him for that, and I saw the value in it. I saw him and how his relationships and business and just in life, um, how strong it made him, and it made me proud to be his son, and made me want to be like that.
Wow. That's awesome. That's amazing. Great to hear. I'm sure we'd love hearing that from you, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Um, so with transparency comes good communication, and actually, that's a topic I think we should talk about a little bit, right? Because with whether we're talking building rounds, where we're talking stand-up meetings, right, or the management meetings on Fridays, or we're talking about transparency, it all boils down to communication.
Mhm.
How do you and your team communicate, right? Other than the meetings themselves.
Yeah, we communicate in many ways. I like to tell everybody that, I mean, they know with me, it's an open door policy to communicate on anything at any time, even after hours. They can call me at any time. I think keeping that door open and letting everybody know that that door is always open is crucial to ensure that they're always going to stay in communication with you. Um, but we do the traditional email, we do the CMMS work orders, we do group texts. That's a big one for us is as we all get, the building alarms from the various, BMSs, and, so what I created a group text with, the ownership, upper management, myself and my counterpart, and then all the facility managers for their respective buildings. They all have their own group chat. So, and we ask them that if we get an alarm come in, just for peace of mind, because there's probably upwards of 6 people that are getting this alarm, and one or two of them might know, oh, that's a nuisance. No need to worry. But the other four, they're like, "Oh, what's this? Is something wrong?" And it just takes a quick text to ease everyone's mind and, let them sleep.
I'm a huge fan of the group text. It's
Yeah.
easy, it's quick. You can see it on
Mhm.
your watch if you have a smartwatch. It just works.
Yep.
We've just learned a ton about your world, and I don't mean to recap, but I just really love some of the stuff you're saying here, Derek. It's like the
Thank you.
purveyor of truth, the transparency, the daily meetings. It's really, really good stuff.
Thank
So
you,
thank
Jay.
you. And now I want to flip it a little bit here and let's talk a bit more about you. And I do want to showcase Mass Maritime again because I'll say this. People have heard me say this before, but I've never heard a bad thing about it. It's not bad. The only thing I've heard that isn't like great is the first semester freshman year can be a little tough, right? Is
Right.
that right?
You're correct. That's
All
correct.
right. So how does, if you want to, let's talk about it a bit. And how did that
Sure.
help set you up for everything you're doing today?
Oh, man. It it was everything, in short. Um, Before I went to Mass Maritime, I was it's hard to describe, but I feel like I was still asleep. I didn't understand how the world worked, how really anything happened. And then when I went there, the best way to describe it for me is it just opened my eyes, um, and just made me see the world and understand. And it just made everything fit for me. And I will never turn down an opportunity to pitch Mass Maritime. It was the best decision I ever made to go to that school, and I highly recommend it to anyone who will listen to me. Um, the education was great. Um, it was just awesome. C term was so much fun. Awesome lessons learned there. Um, memories that that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Can you talk about C term and maybe those lessons learned or experiences?
Yeah, so we left Buzzards Bay, um, and my first rotation was in the bridge, and so I was steering the ship leaving Buzzards Bay, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Is this really happening? They're letting me drive this ship?" It was so cool. Even though I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do, it was still such a cool thing to experience.
Well, and they just got a new ship too,
They
right? I'm sure you
did.
know that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a hell of a responsibility going
Sure
through
is.
Buzzards Bay in a vessel that big.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. I couldn't believe it.
Nice. You just made a couple of big statements there. You said you felt like you were still asleep before you got to Mass Maritime, and that the experience at Mass Maritime opened your eyes.
Mhm.
Could you shed any more light on that? Like, what do you mean by that? And how did they do it, or how did you do
Yeah.
it there?
I didn't know how much went into even a household, just building and operating a household. I didn't understand everything that went into that. Forget about a big building or a big ship. Um, I didn't realize actually how many people's um, ingenuity and work and effort goes into even the smallest things that most people take for granted. It really shocked me, and made me want to know more. And it was almost a limitless pursuit at that point. Um, there was so much to learn,
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
of course.
All right. So who's Derek outside of Mass Maritime and UG2 and all this facilities work that you do with your team? What do you like to do on tell us more about you, man.
So growing up, my sport, well, my two sports were hockey and lacrosse. I still play a bit of hockey from time to time. I actually just played a game yesterday. It's a good time. I'm not that good, but it's fun to just to get out there and have a good time. But in
Nice.
general, I love being outdoors. That's a huge passion of mine, and whether that's doing yard work or mountain biking or fishing. Fishing's a big one for me. Luckily, I got to do that at Mass Maritime in between classes. Go catch a striped bass, go back to class. But fishing's a big passion.
It's funny you say that because I just pipe in quickly. When I was a kid, we spent a lot of time on the Cape and would go right down. My dad went to the Maritime Academy too, so we'd go down there and see everything. And I you could literally see the stripers like right there at the end of the canal, and I wouldn't have
Hmm.
my rod with me. I'm like, but look, they're right there. Yeah,
Torture.
it's cool. Yeah, I know. It was absolutely torture.
Yep. And that orientation, they had us stuck in formation and see a beautiful sunset, see a guy fly fishing out in Buttermilk Bay. Oh my God, all I wanted to do was go fishing, but I couldn't. One of the few negatives.
No, very cool. Awesome, man. Well, Derek, this has been a great discussion, man. How would people get in touch with you if they wanted to learn more about any of the topics, even striper fishing from you? How would you want people to get in touch with you?
Um, so they could check my LinkedIn page. I do have my email and my cell phone number on there. I believe it's public. But yeah, email or phone.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for investing your time and being on the show with us today.
My pleasure. I love what you're doing, Jay.
Oh, thank you, Derek. Thank you very much, man. And everyone listening, thank you for listening in, tuning in today. If you liked it, if you laughed, if you learned something, tell somebody else about the show. Great discussion again, Derek. And until next time, we'll see everyone next week on Facility Rockstars. It's a wrap. Another episode of Facility Rockstars is in the books. Facility Rockstars is sponsored by Colutus, operating the way you operate in order to make your life easier. Until next time, facilitate and rock on.